Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm here in Pune, and it's wonderful to be with all of you today. Let's start our class with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Master, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. O great ones, guide us, protect us, uplift us into thy light, thy divine presence. We are thine. Be with us today in our class and always. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Listen to a song of Swamiji's. You can sing along if you would like. It's a little bit of a different song than we're used to, but I think you'll get the message. Welcome again to everybody.
Brother, I've a faint suspicion you and I've been led astray, taught to drive the devil from us. We've invited him to stay. What we need is light, for we can't drive out the darkness with a stick. With a stick, no, we can't drive out the devil with a stick. Some proclaim all men are sinners, can't escape the devil's might. How their interest must intrigue him, they won't let him out of sight. What we need is light, for we can't drive out the darkness talking sin, talking sin. No, we can't drive out the devil talking sin. Some of us were taught the slogan, social evils must be slain. But can anger drive out sorrow, and can passion conquer pain? What we need is light, for we can't drive out the darkness while we hate, while we hate. No, we can't drive out the devil while we hate. Brother, have you ever wondered why the darkness lingers on? If we want to see the sunrise, let us turn and face the dawn. What we need is light, for we'll only beat the darkness when we love, when we love. Yes, we'll only beat the devil when we love.
Now we'll watch a brief video clip of Swamiji on this topic of working with negative forces.
And I was in the bus going from Delhi airport to Connaught Circus, and it was late at night. All the people in the bus were Westerners. I could see nothing outside the window. All the impressions were Western, or certainly not spiritual. And yet I closed my eyes to meditate, and I could feel this joy coming up out of the ground. Now, India has that power. This northern India is the yoga bhumi of India. There is a real vibration here. And when you go to spiritual places, this is the benefit of pilgrimage too. Go to places that people have worshipped God. There is a definite something in the atmosphere. Go to places where saints have worshipped God. Go to places where saints are. Go to places where people together, even today, worship God. There is something in it. You know, there's a story Ramakrishna told also about Chaitanya when he came to a place where they made mridanga drums for chanting. And Chaitanya said, this is the place where drums are made. And he went into ecstasy. Because he thought of drums, then he thought of the chanting, and then he thought of the ecstasy you feel when you chant. So don't underplay the importance of spiritual influences, spiritual people, spiritual companions, and above all, the importance of Guru. Because it's not just that he's a wise man who teaches you good words. In his company, there is a very real vibration. And there's an interesting thing my Guru also said, that it is the company you keep that determines whether your feelings will turn toward emotion or toward devotion. If there are emotional people around you, that isn't devotion. Devotion is calm, but it will turn you toward that. When you live in community, that's one reason why it's really important to live in spiritual communities.
Welcome again, everyone. So wonderful to hear Swamiji singing and to see him and to hear his words on this really important topic of how to be rid of negative influences in our lives. Everything that we watch on television, or the movies we see, or the books that we read, or the music that we listen to, the places we go to, the people who we are with, all of these, the thoughts that we have, the thoughts of everybody around us, they have an influence on us much more than we can imagine. And I was recalling when I first began on the path, I would watch any kind of movie. And I remember my brother used to like to watch horror films, and I didn't like them, but I was scared afterwards. And our family, they listened to jazz music and all kinds of rock and music. And we just, no one ever thought about it, the influences. It was just what it was. And when I went to Ananda, I just said, no more. I have to be more conscious about what I watch, what I listen to, and who I'm around, because I could feel worldly pulls from the different types of music and the places and all of that. And it's something to keep in mind as devotees. As Swamiji was so beautifully saying, as a devotee, be in a positive spiritual environment. Go to environments that are holy, where you feel you're receiving a blessing. Go to places of pilgrimage. Go to, it's such a beautiful story of how Sri Chaitanya went into ecstasy just thinking of the drums that were made there. And if you go to places where there are holy vibrations, they purify you, they cleanse you, they uplift you, they focus your mind and turn your mind to God. And I'm here in Pune, as I said, with the wonderful devotees here. And I came down to visit with Jayaji and everyone. And after our program on Sunday, you can see this such a beautiful altar. And the next room is another beautiful temple with an altar in it. And as we were walking out Sunday after the program, I just walked by their temple, and I just felt it was just saying, come sit here, come and sit and be with me. And I just said, can we just sit and chant here? We chanted, we meditated, we did a blessing in there. Now, why? Because it's a holy place, and holy places, they draw you there for that, for blessing, for darshan. And so go to places that are uplifting and be around saintly people. I just feel so blessed that my life is with holy people, is with saintly people. My friends are all potential saints. And everyone, I lived at Ananda Village for so many years, and in a saintly community, and with people in Assisi when I lived there, all Kriyabans and saintly. And if you're with people who are thinking of God, then you think of God. If you're with people who are thinking of everything else, money and whatever, then that's who you become. And so Master was telling some of the people at Mount Washington to be more with Walter, because you don't know what you have in him. We need to be more with people who've been around on the path longer. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't need it. I know it myself. I'm guiding myself. And Well, I would say good luck to you. I never found guiding myself got me anywhere. And so to be with others, to ask them questions, to take their guidance, to meditate with them, to serve with them, you're receiving a blessing. And Swamiji said when they would be with Master that just to sit in his presence, he said that he would meditate and feel his energy rising up and soaring out through his forehead when Master was talking about just mundane things. And that's the power of darshan, of being with one's guru. And also that Swamiji said, problems I had for years would just melt away when I sat in the presence of my guru. And also there was a man he was in a construction, he was the head of the construction uh, company that was there working on some things at Mount Washington. And he would always talk about all these yogis, they don't know what they're doing. And he would kind of laugh at people and all. And then at a certain point, Master saw he got kind of interested in what was happening. So Master called him into his interview room, and he pulled the man's head towards his head, his face to his face, and Master just looked deeply into his eyes. And the man didn't even know how long it was. He came out of there stumbling, and he became a disciple, and he came onto the path. We don't know the power, the effects of being with holy people, being in the presence of our guru. And when you can't, when you're in an environment that has negative influences, protect yourself. Protect yourself through various things I'm going to tell you in a moment, but sometimes that happens. Swamiji was saying one time he had to go to San Francisco to meet a music composer, many in the early days of Ananda, and in San Francisco, in a sort of one of not the nicer areas, and he said that he could just feel like tentacles from these bars and places like this is just saying, come in, come on in. And he had to just really center himself. And he said inwardly, he was just chanting Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. The whole time he was walking down those streets, and he was protected. And Master would walk up and down in front of the bars in Los Angeles to just because he said there's such dark entities. He was trying to help people to come out of those thoughts and environments. And we think it's okay. It's not okay. You come away, and as Ramakrishna used to say, if you peel garlic enough or onions, you're going to smell of those. And so you're around those environments enough, then you take that on in your consciousness. And so be aware that if you go in those environments, I usually take a picture of Master or a book or listen, even on something that seems okay, mundane, an airplane or an airport. I'm playing Swamiji's music, I'm listening to a talk or Swamiji, or I'm reading one of Master's books or Swamiji's books. If you're in a restaurant and Master said, have a spiritual bodyguard with you if you have to go to those kinds of places that aren't necessarily spiritual or uplifting. And he didn't go into restaurants because of all the vibrations of the people there. And as Swamiji said, our life would be pretty bland if we couldn't go to a restaurant. But he said, but take people with you. Be in a protective aura of other guru bhais when you go into places like that. And just remember that it is having an influence on you. Now, some specifics about what to do to protect yourself. And I have them down here so I don't forget any of them. One other thing though, before I go on, is avoid two things. Avoid things that are tempting you, may tempt you. You may think you're strong enough. Usually you're not. And remember the story of this person who mastered, they drank all the time. alcohol, and Master told them not to drink. And they said, okay, I won't drink. And then they would keep the bottles of the drink in the cabinet in their house, where it shouldn't have been in the house at all. And then they said, oh, I keep it for my friends. Well, why? And then they said, well, I break it out of the cabinets because I like to see the labels. Well, you're asking for trouble. And they said, oh, just a sip. Then they started drinking again. So don't think you're strong enough to overcome these things. Just don't come around them. And one other thought is keep your space clean. Keep the vibration clean. Keep your aura clean. But in the space that you're in, the environment, get rid of things that are clutter. I go through my place all the time and just get rid of, I don't need that, give it to somebody else. And to see somebody wearing the outfit that you haven't worn for 3 years, see them wearing the next day is amazing. And so go through your closets, go through your storage, and really, it's tamasic. And there was someone who came to Ananda village, and they came into the garden, and the garden was beautiful. It was a Swami Chidananda. And he said, oh, it's so beautiful here. But he noticed one rusty can that was lying in the garden. He said, now, what is this for? And the different Guru Bhai said, oh, we use that to water the plants. And he said, but it's tamasic. He said, if you're going to use it, paint it, clean it, paint it, put it in a place, its own place, and this is your watering can. But he said, don't just throw it there. And Swamiji said, Master was clear about it. He saw a piece of paper, pick it up. We just sort of throw things and don't care where it is. But he said that brings lower astral entities. And I remember recently, and where I live, I just thought this room that's next to the meditation room, it's not clean. It's junky. There's junk in there. And I just got up and I just cleaned it out. And I feel so much better in that room now. So just be aware that you want angelic beings. You want the masters to come visit in your house and your office and wherever you are. Just, is it ready for master to visit? But then again, he said to the monks, he went into the monk's kitchen one day, master did, and it was a disaster. And he told them, he said, well, it could be worse. So you don't want to get so tight that there's no joy in your life, but just be aware. And so things that you can do, one is keep your own aura strong through your sadhana, through energization, through doing kriya. Don't think that I do 6 kriyas and I'm protected. You need to be doing, if you've been around a while, do enough kriya so that you feel there's power, there's shakti flowing through. You feel your aura protection is there. Another one is keep the pictures of the gurus around in a clean place. Now, I visited 3 African countries, and one of them in which you could feel there was not a very clean vibration there. And we used to get letters from people who said, oh, I feel darkness, negative vibrations, and somebody's putting a hex on me. And that was pretty extreme. But Swamiji said to them, he told us to write them, put the pictures of the gurus around, outside, inside, they emanate light and they will protect you. And also, if you feel a heavy energy in your house, go in your house. I have an altar in every room, small, large, but I have an altar in every room because I want the gurus in my house. I have an altar before you come in the house, before you come in the door. And so make sure you have the pictures of the gurus there. If in the night, which has happened, it happened to me recently where I felt a very dark force in the house. And I hadn't felt that before, but anyway, it was at night, and I just prayed to Master, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru. And I felt it was leaving. But then when I got to my meditation room, I started pumping out those kriyas. It didn't stand a chance. It was gone immediately. It never came back. But these things happen. Master said, don't worry about them. They happen. And if you call Master's name, like happened with Swamiji, he had an experience like that. And if it started overwhelming him, and Swamiji just called out, Master, and it immediately went away. So call the Guru on the Guru when anything that feels wrong, dark, low is around you. Also on your pillow, Master said, you can write the symbol of Om or AUM or OM with your finger on the pillow that you're sleeping on at night. And that will help to protect you from any dark forces. Also, Om Tat Sat, I'm not going to stand to do this, but bringing your hands back and forward, the hands touching in the back, in the front, Om Tat Sat, the three aspects of God, chanting that out loud before you go into a place that doesn't seem very uplifting, or when you come out of a place. I know someone who worked in a hospital who did that every time before they went into work. You might try that. And we're going to do a little bit of the peace and harmony prayer in a moment. And finally, that will help. Finally, if you, at a certain point on the spiritual path, it's very, very helpful to have an astrological bangle. Now I'll show you mine, but I'll show you what Swamiji said here. If Natendra could put it up on the screen. The bangles were recommended, as you know, from Autobiography of a Yogi by Master, by Swami Sri Teswarji to Master, so Master to us. There's certain metals that you use, and there's a formula that Master gave to Swamiji, and there are people here in India who make them. You can ask your center leader or your teacher more about who might be able to make one for you. They're extremely, extremely beneficial because they're planetary influences. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're not positive. And you can, for general purposes of protection, an astrological bangle is very much recommended. Please read the chapter Outwitting the Stars in Autobiography to learn more. And also Navaratna, you can see on the screen. It's a 9-stone bangle, very powerful, not very inexpensive, but very helpful for you. Swamiji writes about them in the Raja Yoga book. Pure, unflawed gemstones of not less than 2 carats may also be beneficial if worn next to the skin. An armlet of general usefulness, but one that is a bit too costly, he's saying. But these days, typically you can get one, the Navaratna 9-stone bangle, or you can get one gem. You have to consult further about these with an astrologer, consult your teacher or acharya about where you might get them. And finally, to close, I've done this in my house a lot. If just recently, if I feel a strange energy of any sorts, I go around, and you might have a pujari there, but I go around myself and I bless the house. We do house blessings through Ananda, and go to people's homes and bless their homes before they move in. But you can also bless your house at any time. I go around often and bless the house because I want it to feel like a temple. So you can have a candle. I won't light this, but you can have a candle, you can blow the conch. These are things you can do yourself. You can have incense and go around the house, go to all the altars in your house, take a picture of Master, pictures of all the gurus. You can have a bell and just go into, once you clear your house of any things that don't need to be there, particularly once you clean out and cleanse your house, once you clean out, then go around and cleanse your house. And you'll find that it just feels a whole lot better. Now, I'd like to close with the peace and harmony prayer. If we can bring that up on the screen. And then there are a couple of questions. Now, this prayer is if anyone you feel someone is directly affecting you with negative vibrations. And it happens. I've certainly felt that from different people. You can pray for them, you can chant Om for them, sending them light. You don't want to come back with negative energy, you want to put out positive energy. And so, with this prayer, peace and harmony from Ananda, let's just try it. Think of someone who you're having a difficult time with. It could be someone at work, a relative, a friend. And we visualize that person in divine light. We pray for them from our heart. Lord, fill them with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. And so let's do this just a couple of times. Normally you do 10 times, and then you do it for yourself. Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, 3 times. So hold in your mind now someone, or it could be a situation where you're dealing with a negative, low energy. Visualize them or that situation in light. Feel the Master's blessings going to them, filling them with light. And hold their name or the situation in your mind and repeat out loud, Lord, fill them with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. You can say their name as I'm saying them. Lord, fill them with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Let's do it once more. Lord, fill them with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Then for ourselves, Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Feel a divine light coming into you. Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Let's rub our hands together and chant Om for whoever it is or whatever situation you want to send light to now. Om. See that person clearly or that situation. Om Shanti Shanti. Now I'll ask Natendra to join me on the screen. We have a few questions. If you can stay, please stay over about 5 minutes or so.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. These questions are before we did the prayer and we heard the ringing of the bell. Otherwise, these questions don't arrive.
Okay.
So the first question, Dhyanaji, is sometimes I feel people are upset with me and that they are sending bad vibrations towards me. What should I do in those situations?
I would say the thing you don't want to do is drop your consciousness down to their level and be upset with them, mad with them, send them bad vibrations back. Then you're just entering in to that bad energy. Step back, and it's difficult to do, but step back, try strengthening yourself, maybe doing a couple of pranayams, maybe do 1 or 2 kriyas, maybe go outside, get some fresh air or something like that. Or if you're at home, this peace and harmony prayer is very powerful. I would do that. Or rubbing the hands, praying for them. Usually people, they're just in a lower consciousness. It's not that they really want to do harm, but they can't help themselves. And you're stronger than them, so why would you drop down to that level? So the stronger person, if you've got a lot of energy flowing through and there's a lot of light, that just like the song, what we need is light. Once there's enough light, the darkness vanishes, or the people go away and they just don't bother you anymore. Okay, so try that. Don't go into their level of consciousness. That's the important thing.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The next question is, when my energy is low, I feel that I absorb others' vibrations even if they aren't good. So how can I block those or perhaps get stronger myself?
Yeah, you've got to have a strong sadhana. You can't, if you're weak and the other person's stronger and they're negative, you're going to have a hard time. Guru can save us from anything, but you need to try to save yourself. So doing, maybe energizing twice in the day, maybe doing tension and relaxation, all the tools, chanting's half the battle, singing Swamiji's music, playing his music. I play it all the time. On an airplane, I'm listening to Swamiji's music, maybe reading something of Swamiji. So don't allow yourself to become vulnerable in situations with people or places. And every day you've got to get stronger and stronger. Every day that you energize, every day that you chant, every day that you do Kriya, the more Kriyas. If you're going through a hard time, some days or weeks, or sometimes it's months, sometimes honestly, it could be years. You have to up the sadhana. You can't do less of the sadhana because you feel weak. I know some people say, oh, I'm so weak, I'm not going to do anything. Guruji will do it. I haven't found that works. I find I just get weaker and weaker. But if I say I'm going to do my best, then the help comes.
Thank
So
you,
do
Dhyana.
what you can, get stronger and stronger. Be a spiritual warrior. Don't be a weakling. And as you energize every day, you get strong. You do more and more kriyas, you get very strong. Your aura gets very, very strong. Otherwise, you're so emotional. You no, I can't do. I can't. I hear so many people. I just can't do it. Well, why can't you do it? It's just there's no reason why you can't do it, except you're saying you can't do it. So be in the company of strong people, strong devotees. Don't, even devotees that are weak, don't hang around with people who are always saying, I can't. Swamiji told us, say, I can, I will. And he challenged us on it. Do it. Don't always lean on other people. It's not, you don't grow yourself. Lean on God that's within you, and you'll get strong. And I've said this before, but when I went through major tests, Swamiji just said to me, look what it takes to find God. He didn't say, oh, you poor thing, let me help you. Then he said, look what I've had to go through. And I just went, wow, this is serious business. And so it is serious business.
Dhyanaji, we have a live question.
Mhm.
It is, at times there are disagreements between others and we get into the trap of the habit of pleasing them just to have a cordial relationship.
Ah,
Is that okay, or how do we get beyond that situation?
um, really, I've seen that here. People will say things, and I've been here almost 18 years now, so I can see through them a little bit more than I did at the beginning, but it doesn't help the person or you. I mean, you want to be gracious, you want to be kind, but you don't want to give ego balm, and you don't want to just say something just to make harmony. If something needs to be said, it can be said kindly, can't it? You don't have to shout it, but kindness is important. But being dishonest isn't right. There's truth and there's fact. So Swamiji has said that you go to the hospital, you see someone who's really ill in the hospital, you don't say, oh, you look terrible. The fact is, they may look like that, but the truth is that in their soul, they're forever in light. So just say things kindly, be appropriate. Don't blurt things out and don't hide things. I think from what I've seen here, no, I could be wrong. But what I've seen is people could be a bit more direct rather than, oh no, I remember someone had told me years back, I asked them now, see, I said, now there's a program coming up. Are you going to be able to come? Oh, definitely, I'm coming. Yes, I'll be there, Dhyana ji. And I looked in their eyes and I said, you aren't able to come, are you? She said, no, I'm not able to come. And I said, well, why did you say you were coming? She said, I just didn't want to hurt your feelings. And there's the story of the man, the story. It said he was coming to Swamiji's talk, and Swamiji went to borrow a dhoti. This was here in India from a man, and this other man was there who didn't know. And Swamiji said he was giving a talk. Oh, I'll be sure to be there, he said. Swamiji didn't know the man even. He didn't even invite him. He said, I'll be sure to be there. And so later, Swamiji, of course, he didn't come, but he said Swamiji didn't know, the man didn't know what the talk was, where it was, when it was, the time, nothing. But he said, oh, I'll just be there. So don't do that. It's not helpful. I find it irritating, in fact. And so just say the truth, but kindly. I would love to come, but I'm just not able to. That's so much more clear, isn't it? You have
Absolutely.
time for one more?
Yes, Dhanaji. One last question. There are negative thinking relatives at home,
Oh.
or or those who come often, they are also negative. So I love them. I love them, but I feel affected by them. So what can I do?
Oh, gee, that's not an easy question, but I certainly go through that. What can you do? Well, you're there with the relatives to learn different things in your life. It's not by chance. There's things that you're learning, things they're learning. You have to do your best. I would say be kind and but also have space for yourself. Don't don't overdo. Go out, be nowadays it's easy. You can be online to uplift yourself with there's so many programs. There's yoga, there's meditation, there's chanting, there's these kind of programs, and do things that uplift you because it'll take you down. I remember when I first came here to India and I'd go back and visit my relatives and I would say, "Oh, hi, everybody," and and then they would be watching whatever programs, and so a day or so later, I'd say, "Hi, I just want to tell you all, I'm watching my program now." I just come back later. I said, "I've just been in India for a whole year. I'm watching my program." Then I go to my sister's room. I want to tell you about India. I'm watching my best program now. It was like Empire and all these different. I said, "Why would you watch it? Don't bother me. Don't talk about yoga." And last thing, they didn't want me to talk about yoga at all. So, what do? If you're the stronger person, then just do your best. Be kind. Pray for them. Be respectful. Don't say, "I'm done with you. I'm just a yogi now. I'm going to my cave." And I just, I think the best thing is see God in everybody the best you can. And I learned it from Swamiji. I saw him with all kinds of people, the driver and the cook and the guard and the person at the window begging for money and all kinds of people. And he was always kind in the hospital with other patients and everybody in every store he would go to. He was just in the mall. He was so kind. Everybody, everywhere remembers Swamiji, wherever he went. That's what you want. And with relatives, a closeness, when it gets too close, then there's people take advantage. So just have some space of your own. Have time alone as well. And then pray for them. Pray for everyone. Be kind as much as you can to everyone. I see people putting people down here, and I just feel so badly about that. It's so wrong. well, he's this caste and this person doesn't, they don't have a good car, and look at their shoes. And I just think, why would you do that to anybody? It's so undignified for you. And so just feel God is in everybody. I think that's the bottom line. And I will respect God in everybody as best as I can. And it doesn't mean for people to walk over you. Be strong in yourself, but see God everywhere. And then one day you will be like all the saints who actually do see God everywhere. Swamiji saw God everywhere, and he was always in bliss in God. That's where we're going. God bless you. Thank you, Natindra. Bye-bye.